And she didn't recognize him as king or a prophet or a warrior. She mistook him for a gardener. And she wasn't wrong. Let me tell you a story. It begins with intention, with a world waiting to be chosen. There was a garden once, a whole one, unfractured. And into that garden, God placed humanity. Some say we were made by darkness, by rebellion, by a mistake, by a fallen one. But that's not how the story starts. We were crafted by love, in love's image. Then again, formed from dust. Not because the first wasn't enough, but because spirit needed a body to walk with God through time. 2 accounts, 1 breath. Now here's the part we forget. Eve didn't fall because she was foolish. She fell because she doubted. Not after she partook of the fruit, before she bit. The serpent didn't plant a tree. God did. The serpent that God created, he planted a question. The serpent introduced the option, not the origin. And just like that, love became suspect. Trust grew legs, and a gate opened. Not because she knew evil, but because she wondered if good was holding something back. The fall wasn't disobedience, it was distrust. It didn't happen in a moment of rebellion, but in the moment of doubt before the bite. And that doubt didn't come from Satan. It came from the space love had to leave open. Because real love isn't forced. It must be chosen. And choice requires freedom. And freedom demands a door. So God, being love, gave her a garden and a gate. She chose the gate. And even that choice was not failure. It was part of the pattern. Because the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, it wasn't cursed. It was consecrated. A mirror. It showed her what was already possible. That will could walk away. That love could be doubted. That the image of God could question the voice of God. But even in the turning, God began preparing the return. Because what was fractured through a woman's doubt would be healed through a woman's yes. Not to a serpent, but to the Spirit. And through her womb, love would put on skin and enter the garden again. And now, Here's the revelation Spirit gave me that holds such a prophetic, poetic punch. When he rose, when the tomb broke open and death ran out of breath, the first one to see him was a woman, and she didn't recognize him as king or a prophet or a warrior. She mistook him for a gardener. And she wasn't wrong, because the gardener never left. He had only gone underground to tend the roots from below, to break the curse from beneath, to reseed the soil with mercy. What was lost in a garden was found in one. And when he called her name, Mary, it wasn't just to say he was alive. It was to say, I never stopped planting. I never stopped pruning. I never stopped loving you back to life. So no, beloved, this wasn't some cosmic accident. You weren't born of sin or named by shame. You were shaped by desire and chosen by love, by a God who gave you the option to leave so your return would mean something. The tree was never a trap. It was a threshold. And the gate, guarded by flame, watched by cherubim, not to keep us out in punishment, but to keep us from living forever in disunion. Because the gardener came back. And when he rose, he didn't just break the tomb. He reopened the way. Because love still waits in the garden, not with a sword, but with soil-stained hands. The gardener still stands, calling your name, ready to begin again. Be loved and be loved, beloved.